Okay, I want to shave my head bald.
What?
Great way to start
Whoa.
the show. Let's just make Gina's heart go,
What? Should we, all right, I usually turn red later on in the show. What kind of a way to open a show is that? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Fox. And we got a very
Scare
interesting
everybody.
show.
Make sure everybody's awake.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm awake. But we have a great show
Yes,
with
we do.
Sherry Gaba, and she's amazing. But she's only going to be with us for an hour. So what you guys got to do is you got to get your friends in here if you have questions about your relationships. This is the one. Let me play the video, and she'll be with us because we only have an hour. This week in the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, we have Sherry Gaba, LCSW. She is a licensed psychotherapist and a life coach who helps people cope with codependency, love addiction, toxic relationships, and mental health issues. Sherry is a single mother, and once her daughter was old enough, Sherry returned to school to receive her Master of Social Work from the University of Southern California. As a leading expert on addiction and recovery, Sherry's TV appearances include VH1's Celebrity Rehab, CNN, Inside Edition, The Robert Irvine Show, and Access Live, E! News, and others. She has been featured in Cosmopolitan, Woman's World, the LA Times, Thrive Global, the New York Post, Marriage.com, and Psychology Today. She has also guested many times on Sirius XM radio shows, and now she hosts her own podcast, The Love Fix. Sherry is the author of Love Smacked, in which Sherry addresses relationship addiction and codependency, and she is the contributing writer to the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, Tough Times, Tough People. Sherry maintains a private practice and founder of Wake Up Recovery, an online coaching program that applies the principles of positive psychology, law of attraction, and mindfulness for codependents, love addicts, and toxic relationships. For more information, go to www.sherrygaba.com, and we welcome you to the Fox Den, Sherry.
What a beautiful, I mean, I think the tears are coming down. Like, is that all me? I've never seen my bio put in. I know that you sent this earlier, and I guess I looked at some of it, but I'm like, wow, you put my whole bio in a video. That is so awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you liked it. And we got some people coming on in here. Jay saying hi. Sharon saying some kind of something I don't know what. We'll know on Facebook. Ashley who's on. Woo, Jay, this is one area I'm actually really good because you got a good relationship. However, there's so many people in the world that actually don't, and they may put on a good face that everything is wonderful. Yeah. However, they're suffering and there are problems. And here's our beautiful Nadine from Melbourne. Hello.
Oh, so
welcome
nice.
to the show,
everybody.
Share. We're going to try to get a lot of information out really quickly. All right, so I want to start right from the beginning here. All right, what is love addiction and what are the signs and symptoms?
So that's a great question. So love addiction is a process addiction. So you think of like substance abuse as drugs and alcohol, but a process addiction is like a lifestyle addiction. It's a soft addiction. So when you think of people that are gamers, shoppers, spenders, debtors, it's a mood altering activity and behavior rather than being a substance. But guess what? It has the same euphoric states as a mood altering substance, that a substance might have. So it becomes really a person's whole identity. They are just obsessed with this person. They're in love with love. They're in love with romance. And when a breakup occurs, they even have the same feelings of withdrawal that a substance abuser might have. They're really, they're sort of longing for that attachment and all those pleasurable feelings, those euphoric states, almost like a drug user craves their drugs. I always compare it to an addict or alcoholic is always chasing their first high. A love addict is always chasing their first love. So they over-adapt to what others want. They have no boundaries. They have a fear of the unknown. They attempt to change others. They need others to feel whole. They look for others for affirmation and worth. They fear abandonment. they have withdrawal symptoms, and they give up who they are in fear they'll lose someone's approval.
That is so true.
Yes, it is. I mean, if you haven't gone through it yourself, you certainly probably.
I think
I'd say
everybody
90%.
has it at some
Yeah,
point
90%
in their
no.
life. They should have gone through this. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
you know someone who
99%.
has.
Okay, I got one. How do you know if you're in a toxic relationship?
So part of the reason I bring this subject together, love addiction and toxic relationships, is that if you're a love addict, you are going to settle for less because your fear of being alone is greater than the truth of who somebody is. So you meet someone who's a narcissist or who's abusive, you're going to settle. You're going to settle for less because the idea of being alone is so scary. So when you think of a toxic relationship, these would be the signs you'd want to look for. I know the word narcissistic abuse is really overused a lot, so we have to kind of be careful, but they kind of go together, right? Now, what does this mean? You keep doing, what is that?
Hearts.
Those are hearts.
Hearts to people.
Oh, hearts. Okay, got it. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Is there like,
No.
okay, all right, great.
People.
So unhealthy relationships are characterized by this constant worry about the partner. You're always obsessing about them. It's a toxic sign if your partner, you're always thinking about them. Like you can't really get anything else done. You're always obsessed with what they're doing. When you give up everything to be with that other person, they become the single most important thing to you. And this can lead to other signs of a toxic relation. So obsessing about every little detail, fear of losing them, walking on eggshells. You have a lot of fights. You feel drained. You feel exhausted. You're very mindful of every single move that you make. You're always wondering, what if I did this right? Or what if I did this wrong? Should I have said this? Should I have asked for that? So you're always in fear because you're in fear of losing them. You feel guilty for everything. And the reason you feel guilty is they always turn everything back on you. So they're always blaming you for everything. They don't know how to take responsibility or own their part because narcissists, toxic people really don't have the brain wiring to be able to do that. They actually have no empathy. So everything becomes about you. Did you want to ask me something?
This is perfect. This is perfect with what's going on in the Hollywood scheme with Johnny Depp and what's her face? I can't remember her name. Sorry.
I don't know her name. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that case is pretty gripping. Those are two very grandiose, narcissistic.
Right now, that's what's in the
drug
forefront.
addicts.
And it's amazing how perfectly timed that this show is that shows people, because a lot of people sit there and go, "Oh, it can't be the guy, or it can't be." It doesn't matter whether it's the male or the female.
Oh no, it doesn't matter.
Partnership. There's always somebody.
Sherry,
for sure.
How does this relate in relationships with someone who has mental illness?
So believe it or not, love addiction isn't actually listed in the DSM. It actually should be. The DSM is the diagnostic manual for mental illness for different diagnoses like anxiety, depression, but narcissistic personality disorder actually is in the DSM. So if you're thinking about mental illness, someone who's a true narcissistic personality disorder actually has no empathy. Their brain is wired differently. I can't say every toxic person is a narcissist, but yes, it is mental illness. Narcissistic personality disorder is definitely a mental illness. It's called a cluster two. It's a personality disorder. So it's not you have two different, you have like depression, anxiety, and then you have personality disorder. So narcissistic personality disorder would be considered a personality disorder. So I hope that answered your question.
Usually, she said, thank you. Usually, a narcissist is with an empath.
Narcissists are attracted to empaths. Empaths find narcissists. Yes, they are definitely magnets for each other. Do you want me to go through a little more about what a toxic relationship is, or do you kind of want me to talk about?
Yes, please do.
Code? So basically, toxic relationships also consist of a lot of fighting, a lot of manipulating and controlling behaviors. And then I do want to go back to that empath because that's a really good point. A lot of yelling, a lot of insulting, a lot of devaluing, and then they discard you. Then it can turn into domestic violence, physical injuries, disrespect, betrayal, dishonesty. lack of self-care is a huge one. When you start giving up your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional self for somebody else, you're probably in a toxic relationship. But yeah, that was a really good point about empaths and narcissists, because let me just say this. Most people that end up with toxic people usually have some form of early trauma. So they're replicating maybe something that happened to them as a child. Maybe they were neglected or abused. And so they end up picking what they know. But you can also be a really lovely, empathic person, a compassionate person, and then you end up with a monster because you just do. I mean, they have what you want, because the empath or the codependent is going to give, and the narcissist toxic person is going to take. So it's quite a, they find each other. But I never like to say all people that attract narcissists have early trauma, because there are some that just are really great people, had great childhoods. They just happen to be empathic, and they end up bumping up against a monster.
Right. And then they're attracted to you for all the things that you are, powerful, whatever, strong. And then it seems like they just want to crush that.
Right, because you are a representation of them. So the more money you have, the more successful you are, the more beautiful you are, that is going to represent their facade of what they want to put out into the world, which is perfection. They want everything to look good. A narcissist wants everything to look good. And that's one of their biggest fears, is things don't look good, that people are judging them. Narcissists and codependents, or love addicts, or empaths. I don't really want to put empaths in that category, but codependent, love addicts / narcissists really come from the same coin, just two sides of a different coin. They both have abandonment issues. They both need to be loved. But the narcissist comes out more aggressive, more the taker. The codependent's more the giver.
Right. And all of this is in that book, Love Smacked. It's just, what an amazing book. And I have a PDF, so I printed out a ton.
Good.
Yeah, we'll go through that.
Good.
But I love the book, and all this information is absolutely in there, and you guys would love it.
I sometimes talk kind of fast because I really want to make sure people get a lot of information. Because a lot of people don't know about this. And when they hear the word love addiction, or they hear narcissistic abuse, there's so much online. I have an Instagram account called Codependency Curious, which I'm a licensed therapist. I put a lot out there, but there's a lot of misinformation out there too. So I like to make sure that I put out really good information.
Right. So I'm going to, right now, since you said that, I'm going to put up your picture of some of your books here. And these are all available on Amazon, and you can go to www.sherrygaba.com, and that's SherryGaba.com. And there's a lot of information there as well, which is amazing. But I got another question, because I do want to keep it rolling along. What is love bombing?
So love bombing is a great question. So love bombing is when somebody is really showing you over the top courting you. Like you go on a date with them, and on your first date, they tell you they're going to marry you. They tell you you're the one, that you're the soulmate. They're sending you lavish gifts. Love bombing involves over the top gestures, really even sending inappropriate gifts. They're just over the top. There's no like slow and steady. It's like, it's like wham bam, fast and furious. I'm sorry, what?
No middle ground.
Nothing. No middle ground. No, it's like boom. And they're telling you things like, I love everything about you. I've never met anyone as perfect as you. You're the only person I want to spend time with. But what's so interesting is that because the codependent wants that outside validation, or the love addict wants to be loved, wants the validation, wants the acknowledgement, they're going to be vulnerable to the love bombing, because it makes them feel so good. It's how their identity is formed, is by what you say, what you do for them, or what you say to them, the attention that you give them. So it's the other negative side, and it probably is all negative really, although it may feel good, it usually will end up blowing up in that person's face. But they want undivided attention. They want to convince you right away that you're soulmates. They're going to, again, say things like, we're born to be together. It's fate that we met. You understand me more than anyone. You're my soulmate. They're going to want a commitment really fast. So really, those are red flags, guys. You want to really look for those things, because those are definitely red flags. I mean, I had a guy over a year ago say, I'm going to marry you on a first date. I mean, it was completely love bombing 101. Yeah. And then the biggest thing you'll know though with love bombers is if
done that. No, thank you.
right, it's like, no, thank you, goodbye. Well, it's just so silly because you don't know anybody on a first date. How
Yeah,
can you
no,
know someone? I mean,
it
it's just
takes time.
ridiculous. It takes
No.
time. I mean, I think there can be love at first sight, but I think you have to get to know someone. It has to become more nurturing, more securely attached. Just has to be just slow and steady wins the race, as I always say. But one thing you'll know if you're being love bombed is they don't like boundaries. So as soon as you say no to them, and they give you a hard time, you know you're dealing with probably a love bomber, toxic person, narcissist.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's a huge red flag, everybody, is they don't like boundaries.
Right. So why is it that we do this? Why do we become addicted to these toxic relationships?
So really, again, going back to early trauma, is that if you were brought up, in a healthy environment where you were loved and you were nurtured and you were given the attention and the bonding, like my story is that I was premature, didn't get early attachment with my mother, and what we know about early attachment is that can set you up for issues later on in life. So that was my issue. But some people can be neglected. They might have had parents that were abusive. They might have been molested. There's all sorts of kind of trauma. They could have come from a single parent family where their parents parentified them, made them like little adults. And so when you grow up in these kind of families where there's abandonment and neglect, there's not a sense of who you are. So if you don't know who you are, you're not going to really attract anyone that's right for you because you don't like yourself. You don't know yourself. You don't know what your preferences are. You don't know what you want because as a child, you were pretty invisible. So that's why it's so important to get that love and that nurturing and all that stuff that we need as babies and children. That's really what it comes down to.
It's so hard to when as a parent watching your child go through these things, because I watch my daughter Jess struggle with relationships, and she does the same thing over and over and over again.
She does. Yeah.
It's really, it's just like, why he's just like this one, you know what I mean? And this is just like that one. Why do you keep,
well, without, digging too deeply into your story or your personal story. I mean, when you grow up, even it could be a family where there might be fighting going on, or there might have been where she might have been bullied when she was young. So she kind of lacked that self-esteem. I mean,
she needs her own category. Like I really do. I have two complete opposite children. Like,
yeah,
we grew up in the same house. One's an angel, one's a devil. You know what I mean? But it is like, it's a mental thing with her. You know what I mean? It's
well, there's actually a great book. How old is your daughter? How old is
40.
your daughter? Oh, she's 40. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, have her read my book. That might help her. She can attend 12-step meetings, for Love and Sex Addict Anonymous meetings. She can learn about my membership where we work with people that are struggling with love addiction. I mean, it might be something that would benefit her. Maybe she just, I don't know. I don't know your daughter personally. She could just be an empathic person, and she's just a person that gravitates, and these people gravitate towards her, and there you have it. Yeah. Oh, thank you for putting that up. So yes, I have a membership where it's basically live group coaching. And for your listeners, it's $1 to join trial. Then it goes to $27 a month. And it's wakeuprecovery.com/IG1. And, we know that when we find people that are going through like-minded, going through the same thing, like-minded people, it's so powerful, when I was married to an alcoholic, I joined Al-Anon. When I was a single mother, I joined a single parent group. So if anybody's struggling with these things, you feel it's so nice to know that someone else is going through the same thing. It can be very, very healing.
Exactly. Oh, what do we got here? What about ones who are raped from family members? Well, yeah, I mean, that's the same thing that you get. Your mindset.
What was the question?
Oh, here you go. I'm sorry. Back up. Sharon says, what about ones who were raped from family members?
Right. So that's sexual abuse, and that's major trauma. And what I want to say to anybody that has that kind of, that's really big. There's big trauma and little trauma. That's definitely a big trauma.
Yeah.
You want to find someone that really understands trauma, because you are going to keep repeating, the same patterning. that you grew up with if you don't get the help you need. And you don't just want someone that does talk therapy. You want someone that maybe does deeper work, such as I'm a trauma therapist. So we do things like somatic work where we get you inside your body and we discharge, energy, toxic energy, help you become more present, because usually when you've been sexually abused, you disassociate. You're not as present as you might be able to be because you had to disassociate to survive. Or you want to find someone who does EMDR. You want to be very discerning on who you work with if you are dealing with big trauma.
Most definitely.
So I have great compassion for that person who just wrote you about that, because that is a very big trauma.
Yeah, a lot of, not only just family members, but that's in my book, that's far too rampant out there. To me, I just.
Yeah. It's more rampant than you might imagine. But again, going back to what I was saying earlier, traumas can be different things. It could be bullied. It could be your parents fought all the time. It could be that your mother was a single mother and she was too busy and she didn't have time for you. Maybe your parents were immigrants and they had to work, 2-3 jobs just to make it in this country. And there you are, this little person, and you feel like, where are my parents? It's not their fault. No one did anything to hurt those children, but the parents were literally unavailable. And that's what we want to, look at. Were your parents available? No, they weren't available. Were they abusive? Were they neglectful? Did they abandon you? So forth.
Right. That's a lot. I could go into the whole thing right now, but I'm not going to do that. But what is the difference between being in love and an unhealthy obsession? And you do discuss this in Love Smacked, right?
Yes. So in healthy relationships, when couples first meet, they usually idealize each other. They're forming this attachment, and hopefully they're picking someone with a secure attachment. Hopefully you have a secure attachment. And then as love matures, it becomes a little less intense, but more secure. Trust develops alongside love. But people that have love addiction or codependency, they never get past that romance, that initial stage of falling in love. Like I had said earlier, they're always searching that high, that love high. And they idealize the person they're in love with. They never feel ever secure enough to trust them. They become dependent on the person they love in a really unrealistic way. They hope somehow that person is going to create a happily ever after. It's, and it's very unrealistic to expect anybody to give you that happier ever after. That's just sort of a fantasy. It really has to start with a connection with ourselves. So anyway, with love addiction or with picking or having unhealthy relationships, they ultimately do not become satisfying because you're expecting that other person to fill you up. You're expecting that other person to make you feel whole. And it's not based on a healthy bond. It's really a psychological bondage because your whole identity is based on that person you're with.
Wow, that is so crazy. And it just boggles my mind. But where does this stem from? Where does that obsession?
Again, it's the same thing I think I was saying earlier. I kind of answered it, but I can go into it a little bit again. If you grow up with a good sense of yourself as a complete person, and you're able to, you've had parents that have set healthy relationship boundaries. You understand your preferences, what you want, what you don't want. That's where, self-esteem grows. That's where security grows. But love addicts usually have had caregivers that were unavailable physically, emotionally. They might have been neglected, like I said earlier. They just a lot of their needs were never met, and that's really what it stems from. So they end up picking people that replicate that, and they end up maybe picking unavailable partners, abusive partners, toxic partners, and so forth.
Right. So now these addictive personality people, right now, because I'm one, and it doesn't mean. I was addicted to alcohol, drugs. All those things, right? But anything that I love, ice cream, I can't have anymore. You know what I mean? It's like all the things that you love, doesn't matter what it is. But is this something? Is it like, because not everybody is an addictive personality, but what is it?
I think that love addiction is an addictive. It is an addiction. I believe it's an obsession. Like I have a client today I was talking to, and she's addicted to always watching really good looking men and getting really upset because she's not, with that man, and the man is with another woman, and why can't she look like that woman? And it's a kind of different type of obsession, but that's her obsession. You know, we have something called cross addiction. So like if you are an, you know, substance abuser, often what happens is you end up cross addicting to other things. So someone that maybe gets clean and sober ends up suddenly uses love as their new addiction, or sugar, or gambling, or food, or whatever it might be. So yeah, it's absolutely an addiction. I mean, there's no question. People don't want to hear that because it has such a horrible stigma even today. All addictions have a stigma, but my whole mission in life is to take away the shame and the blame. I've had multiple marriages. I made a lot of, I don't call them mistakes. They were all learning experiences. And that's why I do the work I do, not to feel ashamed, because I would go on a date and I'd be really ashamed that I'd been married a few times, and I would be really embarrassed by that. I didn't want to talk about it. And now I'm at the point where it's important that I talk about my history because it might help somebody else.
Yes.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yep. I mean, who in this day and age, you know, people don't stick out the marriages like they used to. You know, my parents, they've been together forever, you know, but it's just like that's so rare anymore. You know, you have all these issues, you get divorced, you know.
Yeah.
I'm divorced from my parents. I mean, from my kid's father, you know, and then I got married again. He passed away, unfortunately, you know, but now I'm in another relationship, and, you know, it's just what happens. And it seems like there's more of a
you know, it always, there's no Cinderella story for everybody, and really, who cares? Because, you know, some of the greatest things that have happened in my life are through these losses. I became a therapist when I became a single mother because I wanted to help others. When I was married to an alcoholic, I ended up working in the field of addiction and ended up on television, and I wrote a book. I mean, so many things led to things. So even though you might be in the pit of your life right now, you don't see it yet, but it's on its way. I mean, that's the law of attraction. You know,
and a lot of people hate this saying where they say things happen for a reason. Always. And they go like, what are all this negative shit? What's the reason? And one of my things is I think that we go through all this stuff so that we can help somebody else down the road.
Sure.
So that, because it's easier to talk to somebody who's been there, done that, than just somebody who's like, you know, book smarts type of thing. Nothing wrong with
right. I was, exactly. I was always the type of therapist that definitely would, you know, I bring in the human part of it. You know, I'm not just going to be clinical and talk, you know, people want to relate. They want to know they're not alone. I mean, that's why the 12-step programs work.
That's why I think, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly it. But it's exactly.
And if you think about it, the 12-step program is really like the law of attraction. You have a bunch of people sitting in a room and they're all putting out real positive energy to get something positive in return. I mean, that is the law of attraction, really.
Exactly. And it does work. And people do relate when they, you know, because you could have that stick figure, that perfect life stick figure, you know, that never had an issue with their life, going to tell you what's wrong with your life. You've lived through some of this, you know what I mean? So you know. Darian, this is Darian, who we were talking to you about earlier. Yes, we were, Darian. We were talking about you before the show started. She's the unbelievable author. She says, I'm in this category. I've lived this lie, but my parents tried. However, they both endured major issues in their lives, and I think it flowed over to me and my brother. And then she wrote, I've been in 3 toxic relationships in a row, and now can't connect to anyone in that way.
So probably she's lost trust in relationships because, and that's great that her writing is healing. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for being so honest. And that's so amazing that, and the writing really is helping. Whatever she's doing is probably helping somebody else with her words, you know, and that's how she's, you know, expressing her pain, which is very healing. Absolutely. But I think what happens is when you've had all of these relationships that don't work out, then you can go either way. You just keep going and trying to find Mr. or Mrs. Right, or you back off and you have no trust. And so that's why you really want to get the therapy, the trauma therapy, to start healing those wounds so you can just release all of that stuff and really release it energetically, you know, not just talk therapy, but actually getting in your body, figuring out, you know, how does that make me feel when somebody abandons me? What did it feel like when they neglected me? Or what did it feel like when I was criticized? Or what did it feel like when I was devalued? Feeling the energy in your body, where you notice it, letting it go, and making room. So many people will hire coaches, which I think are great. I think dating coaches are great. I think all that is great, but they aren't actually going to go to the deep rooted issues. And until you do that, you can't really move forward. You're just going to be stuck. And so it's very, very important, if you have that kind of trauma with toxic parents, with abuse, all of that stuff, to find someone that will work with you from a trauma perspective.
Right. Because a lot of people hold this stuff in, or they don't realize it, or they give it power that it does, unduly giving it power because it's manifesting in here. But as soon as you get it out of your mouth, and you recommend this a lot, writing, journaling. Once you write it down, once you get it out of here and it's on paper or it's out verbally, it has less power over you. And it's like, why was I obsessing?
That's right.
What was the issue here? So a lot of that.
Whatever you repress will be expressed. So most people that form addictions have had something they've repressed, either a childhood wound or something in their life, and it hasn't come out, whether through either talking about it, sharing it. It's stuck inside, and whatever is stuck is going to come out, and it's going to probably come out in a negative way, most likely. Right. Even getting into another toxic relationship is a way that can act. That's trauma activated in a negative way.
Right, and then you.
So someone just asked a question here.
Yes, Nadine says, so you incorporate a blend of conventional and alternatives approaches, such as mindfulness skills and semantic experiencing energy work. So do you believe in energy work / healing? Thanks, Doc.
So hi, Nadine from Malibu. You live very close to where I live back home. I live in two places right now, back in close to you in Malibu, and then I'm now living in Florida. But yes, I totally believe that you have to release that energy from your body. Now, I'm not talking about like Reiki. I think all that's great, Reiki or energy work, but I'm talking about somatic work, which is slow and titrated. So if you are someone that's interested in knowing more about this, get the book Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine. And that will be all about the kind of trauma work that I do with my clients, how I worked with a therapist that worked with me the same way. It's very titrated. It's very slow. It's moving energy. Reiki is great. Massages are great. Energy healing is great. This is not that. This is actually moving energy from your body through noticing it, talking about it and noticing it. And not even going into great detail. I was able to release the energy of my premature birthing experience through this. Because what we forgot in our brain, our body doesn't forget. Yeah, so even though, you're thinking, how can she remember that? I don't remember it, but my body does.
Right. Yes, that's the blueprint that gets instilled in you, and you have to change that. And that's a physical thing, and it's real. We've talked about this many times on the show of how it changes your molecular, from the molecular level. And, and you get to that point where this is how I feel, this is the way it's going to be, and your intent is too strong, and you need to fix that, and this is how you do that. This is how you fix that, is you work with the proper people. Because Darian said she's had bad experiences with counselors as well, and a little sad face. Yeah, because that's the thing, and then people will go to the wrong counselor and stay there because why? They're afraid to leave that counselor. Seriously?
Yeah.
No. You've got to be with the right person. You got to be able to relate.
The word of the day is discerning. You want to be discerning. You want to really find out, who is this person? What is their background? Look at their bio. Look at, if they've been on podcasts or they've written books, or, really, really get to know who they are. You want some, if you're using your insurance, maybe have them give you 3 different referrals, talk to different people, different therapists. And that's why it gets a little, I don't want to go on, because I can go on a real rant. I can go on a whole tangent here about people out there that, have these very expensive programs, or promising the moon and the sun and the stars. And, if someone is promising you that, it probably is too good to be true. So really, really hire the professional that is a good fit for you. And then when you go on that first appointment, see if there's a connection. listen to your gut, because
Right.
you usually will know, if they're, and if you have any doubt that this person is not right for you, it's okay to set a boundary. They're not God. They're not, some guru.
They're
You have
not
a
the
right
only,
to say.
not the only thing in the park.
Exactly. So be discerning, guys.
Yeah, you talk a lot about boundaries in the book too, and I really liked the way that you put that into perspective. And there's a lot of people have this issue, and it's like once people start letting those boundaries slip, you may set them, and you may say, I've got these strict boundaries, and then it's like, well, they overstep a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and then the next thing you know, you're in a wide open field, right?
Well,
So
remember, Gina, that think about it. When you grow up and you're in a family where there were no boundaries, either the boundaries were too strict or they were too wishy-washy, you don't know. Then how are you supposed to know when you're out there in the world? So that's why, there's a great book by Nancy Levin. I think it's, I love to recommend other people too. I think it's The Boundaries Will Set You Free. And it's by Nancy Levin. And it's a great book about boundaries. And then I have a section of it in my book, Love Smacked. But I do think this is a very, very important topic, because without boundaries, without being able to say no, and codependents and love addicts have a really hard time saying no, because they want to be loved, they want the attention, they want to be validated. So if they say no to you, then they're afraid that you're going to go away, or you're going to abandon them, or you're going to leave them. So yeah, definitely learn to strengthen your boundaries and be gentle with yourself. It's a process.
Yeah. She says, Darian says, I have learned that what I tolerated was teaching others how to treat me.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
a really good point. Sounds like you have a lot of self-awareness, Darian.
She does.
I just adore her. Everything about her, I adore her. Now, I want to just kind of reel it back into like these questions here that I want to get in, hopefully. But what are some of the signs that people can like notice about themselves that they are being too obsessed?
That they are too obsessed?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first meet someone, you usually fall in love instantly. You think about them constantly. You're immediately fantasizing about a future together. You overwhelm your partner with attention, or they overwhelm you with attention. You feel it's your responsibility to fix them, to make them perfect. You want them to be the fantasy of who you have created in your mind, rather than who they really are. The key really is acceptance. If you meet someone and there's things you want to fix or change or manipulate or control, they're probably not the person for you. You want to find someone that you can accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? If not, you need to move away. You are not usually authentic with yourself. You're not authentic with the partner. You're always people pleasing. You're trying to change them to suit what you want. You're very hypervigilant, and you overreact to the slightest sign that your partner's no longer interested. You feel empty and lost or unworthy when you're not in a relationship.
Yep. She said she has learned a lot, and then she said, so very true. Yes, it is. So now, on the same note, so obviously, and just to tell people, what are the downsides of being this so obsessive?
So some people stay in abusive, painful, incompatible, and unfulfilling relationships, either because they fear abandonment, which was my issue, abandonment, or they lack the autonomy to leave, so they don't have a sense of agency or independence. And if they do leave, then they end up, like you were saying earlier about your daughter, they repeat the cycle again and again and again, because they believe that they just can't imagine being alone. That emptiness is so excruciating. They can also become easy prey for really manipulative, selfish people, because they are so afraid to be alone. So they end up getting predators. They're very vulnerable to predators. My mother, when she lost my dad, ended up with a narcissistic I would call him a psychopath, but he was a con man. And that was because my mother was really grieving. She was an elderly woman. She missed my dad. They'd been together 60 years. And you're going to be more prone to being taken advantage of. You really deny your true self. You make excuses. You make excuses for their shortcomings. You go into denial about who they are, because if you have to admit who they are, you might have to give them up. And that's, that's really what it looks like. Those are the downsides, is just settling for less.
And it has to be something that you see, not what other people see, because other people have their own way of seeing things.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
yes, it is great that you have friends that are honest with you. Like, if I tell Gina something that I think Bob's got the sexiest calves alive, it's it's true. But it's great to have friends that are honest with you and you're willing to listen to them, friends or family. But you also have to remember that it's something that the person themselves has to come to the realization that's like, okay, so this really isn't good for me, instead
So
of
you
them
got to be
always.
careful, because if you're always looking for one of the problems with being a codependent or love addict is you're always looking for someone else's approval. So it's fine if your friends tell you whatever they're going to tell you, but often you're doing it because you want their approval. So you want them to approve whoever you're with. So it's because you don't have a sense of self, and so your opinion becomes their opinion. So you got to just kind of be careful about what other people say.
Thanks for the visual, Mama D. Bob's calves. He does have nice legs. He does.
Oh wow. Okay.
And we talk about many
okay,
things.
we kind of go off on the rails. Sometimes we have this squirrel moment.
I know.
But Gina and Bob, they do a lot of fishing. And one time there was a picture of it, and all you saw was Bob's legs. And I was like, wow, he's got some nice legs.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I
Well,
just tease
good.
him all the time.
But Bob is your partner, Gina?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And and it's like, and I don't mind her saying that. You know what I mean? Because I am safe and secure. However, if Bob, if a man says that about me, Bob will go off the rails. And that's
okay.
Do you find that in your uh, in the people that you help, is it more women or men that are more obsessive?
It is, but it can be a man too. And I often, on my Instagram account, by the way, people should check it out at Codependency Curious, but a lot of times men will say, well, what about me? I met a narcissist. I was how come you're not talking to me, the man? I tend to, more women come to me, but it's absolutely, there is no, it can happen to anybody, a man or woman. Anyone can get attracted to a narcissist or a toxic person.
Do you think it's because men are when they talk about it, people go, that's not possible. It can't be possible that you as a
men are supposed to be strong. They're not supposed to have feelings. They're not supposed to be as sensitive. I mean, I think things are changing in 2022, but men have nowhere to go. There just aren't a lot of resources in a way for them. Women, tend to, we're social beings. We want to talk to other women, and, men, they kind of relate more on business or sports. I mean, I don't want to sound like totally sexist here, but there are some differences. And I think men have, I love when men join my program. Some of my best clients have been men that have worked through some of these issues.
A lot of men should be, they really should be, because they have, but there's the differences between men and women, and we use both sides of our brain. They only use one, and most of the time they use one. So it's like,
right.
You get led around by that. It goes, Mom. You get led around by that, and that's it. And they're addicted. And that's the real thing.
And just for anybody who's listening who doesn't realize this, is that we have opinions of our own. Whether you agree with them or not, these are our opinions. When Gina and I talk, these are our opinions. So if you don't like it, you know where to find us. You can message us and we can have a conversation.
Thank you. That's true. That is true. But that's a whole nother show. but now, all right, I'm going to reel us back in again and say, okay, when is being obsessed with your partner a sign of love addiction? Because we've been going back and forth with this.
Yeah, we have been. So the key to distinguishing relationship or love addiction from the normal ups and downs of a relationship is you want to look at the frequency or severity of those ups and downs. So if you've had like 5 really happy relationships and 1 happy one, you're most likely not going to be a love addict. But if you're unhappy in every relationship and you feel worse on your own, you can't be alone, you're probably addicted to a relationship. That's really it in a nutshell. You can't be alone. You You know, you don't want to be, you just, it's just too painful to think to not be partnered up.
Wow. Wow. You know, and a lot of people come to that realization a lot later on in life. I don't know, maybe we mature to the point.
Well, again, and it goes back to not feeling the shame or the blame. There's reasons for it. You know, if they didn't get what they needed, then that's why they don't want to be on their own. I mean, love is great. Being in a healthy relationship is wonderful, but you want to be with someone for the right reasons. It's much lonelier to be with the wrong person. I can attest to that. Believe me, it is.
Yeah.
I got to the point in my life, I was really okay with that. Like, finally, that's it. This is going to be what it's going to be. And then I met someone. And that's great. And we'll see what happens. But it's when you really kind of say to yourself, I can do this. I can be alone. It's lonely sometimes. It's not always great, but I can just accept where I'm at. But it's when you're desperate and, you know, that you're really going to repel what it is that you really want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's really sage.
Very important.
Here is amazing. All right. And in her book, I'm just going to say this again, Love Smacked, right there. She goes into the relationships that she's had in detail, you know, and I mean, she's very much a human being. Okay.
Yes.
With a lot under her belt. She knows what she's talking about, you know, and she's lived these
thank you, Gina.
And this show is only going to be touching points that the book gets deeper into. So if you're enjoying the conversation you're hearing, you're enjoying the information that she's sharing with you, go get the book.
Yeah, and I'm sure these other ones.
Yeah, maybe I also have a free quiz to see if someone is in a toxic relationship or think that they might be a love addict. So it's sherrygaba.com/NP quiz. And there, and you guys just put it up. And that's a book on obsessive love and narcissistic partners. They get a free ebook, and it's a quiz to see if they actually are a love addict or with a narcissist. Right. And it's free.
Yeah, and you also, again, in Love Smacked, you have all these things, you know, these questions, and you circle. Wrong side.
It's almost like a workbook. It really is. And then, of course, the membership is the greatest deal, you know, for $1, you know.
$1 to join at first and $27 a month. That still is cheap. You know, you figure what it costs to
2 cups of coffee?
Right?
Yeah, it's
what it costs
I'm going to have to raise the prices for sure because it really is. But, you know, I really wanted more people to have access to my materials. So this is the best way for someone.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that, especially like in today's, you know, money is so tough on everybody, you know, the COVID, the lockdowns, I'm sure you must have been inundated with all kinds of friction.
Yeah, I could probably work 24/7 if I really wanted, but I don't want to.
I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's pretty sad what's happening out there. And another problem is there aren't enough mental health providers, you know, for people. That's why they're coming up with all kinds of like 15-minute therapy or this. I mean, just again, be very discerning, you know, even if it takes you a little while to find the right therapist, you know, make sure that you know, and I'm a therapist. I'm also a coach. I can work with, you know, anybody, anywhere. I do more therapy than I do coaching, but I'm available for both.
Yeah, that's great. You know, thank you again for doing all of that. And so, can you just explain to me what does it look like? All right, what is withdrawal from a toxic or a love addicted relationship?
So it's very agonizing. You feel very empty. You're very obsessive. You're in a panic mode. There's a sense of not knowing who you are. The feeling that you might never find love again. On the positive side, it's such a great opportunity to become whole again. So withdrawing could be a really great time to meet yourself, your authentic self, your precious self, all the parts of you that you've been avoiding. It's really a great time for self-love, for healing, and a healthier relationship. Even though going through it can be very painful and excruciating, you will get to the other side.
Exactly. And the other side is a lot better than where you are at this moment in time.
And there is another side, and people always forget that. They think they're going to be stuck in this pain forever.
Exactly. In the moment of pain, they don't think about what's going to happen, you know, in 5 minutes, never mind 5 days.
Right.
So
right.
It's
exactly.
Like you have that, you have to have that person. For me, you have to have that, hey, Taryn, that person who reminds you of these things. I have that. You know, when things get a little crazy, I have that person who will be like, you know what, it's going to be okay. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Nice.
Nadine says, how can I help a friend who continues to have relationships with the wrong person? It's like watching a
So you can
revolving cycle
basically,
over and over.
you can show them my book. You can have them join my membership. You can give them my name for therapy. That's where you start. You know, you can't fix them. You can't change them, as much as that's frustrating and you'd like to help them, that you're really, I hate to say this, you're kind of powerless over their addiction, over their partner choosing. It's
Yeah.
just, it's something they're going to have they're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to really like dig deep to figure out why they keep doing this.
Yeah. I think, like you said, the first step would be buy your friend this book.
Sure.
Send her the quiz.
Or the quiz.
Send her
Right.
the quiz. You know, say, hey, do the quiz yourself and say, hey, I did this quiz. You want to check it out?
And remember, the people that keep doing this, they don't want to be in the pain, so they keep picking the next person, which is kind of what my history was. And so if you keep doing that, you're going to keep getting what you know. You know, I'm sure you guys know that saying, Einstein, you know, pick what you, how does it go? I can't think. I'm too tired to think, but you know, you're going to get, you know, it's Einstein's quote, right? I don't know. How does it go?
Why can't I can't think of it. I don't know.
Oh my God, our brain is freezing. But you're just going to keep getting what you're going to get if you keep picking what you keep picking. But that's not really it. But it's to that. It's that idea.
Oh my God, I do know this. I used to have it written. I used to have that written on a board.
I know. It'll come to us. Oh, the definition of insanity is
doing the same thing over and over again,
expecting different results. Right. That's it.
But now, right, since we're talking about this though, and then we were saying, okay, so here's the withdrawal symptoms. This is what you're going through, and that we were just saying, you know, there is another side and all that, and the other side being talking to someone like you. Although also, and there's Athena, our 12-step programs and things like that. You know, it's so necessary to be talking with like-minded people about these issues, because again, and then if you really need to be in a relationship, you can't be in a relationship unless you fix yourself first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you have to have, it really comes down to having a connection with yourself, an intimate relationship with yourself, because until you do, you can't really have an intimate, connected relationship with somebody else. It's almost impossible.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do right now is, I mean, Athena is here. I'm going to bring her in just to talk with us about this. I'll have her do her crystal when we have to say goodbye to you. But I just want her to meet you. Okay, this is Athena Sherry.
Hi,
Sherry. Nice to meet you.
She also has a home in your neck of the woods, although she's in Florida right now. But she's out in your neck of the woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we are talking about these subjects. Like I said, this would fill the 2 hours like that. I told you that hour flew by.
Yes,
and
I'm sure.
We haven't really talked. I am gonna skip ahead a little bit on these things because we're down to like 5 minutes, and I want to get into the codependence and the codependent dance that everyone does.
So you know what I would do, Gina? I would probably, I think we might want to close because I am going to be off in 5 minutes. Is just to kind of give people a taste of how to overcome, because really people are really for like transformation. They want a solution. They want to know. So rather than getting into all that, I kind of did that a little bit when I talked about the empath and the narcissist. You can really switch empath, codependent, narcissist. It's kind of this. It's the same thing, really. So I'll skip over that. And I just want people to know that you just have to start looking at every relationship that enters their life as an opportunity to heal and to grow and to become more self-aware. They're all great learning lessons, and to have the focus from the outside in, shift from the outside in. Stop looking out there to make yourself feel good, because it starts right here, having an intimate relationship with yourself, and that every relationship is manifested into our lives to mirror the relationship that we have with ourselves. So if we're attracting toxic relationships or continuing to nurture our addiction to them, it's because first and foremost, we have a toxic relationship with ourselves. And that's the one we have to work on the most. We have to investigate the roots of this addiction, this internal addiction to your toxic self. We want to look at the shadow side of yourself, the trauma that I talked about earlier, accepting and welcoming the process, knowing that it's a constant work in progress. It's a process. It's not a quick fix. Knowing if someone out there is telling you they can fix you or they can find you a man, I would probably run the other way because
we all have those people too.
Right. And we're not about that. We're about really uncovering, resolving our toxic childhood experiences and our conditionings, our limiting beliefs, and then really building connections with your healthy self, your spiritual self, your emotional self, your physical being. It takes time. It's like I said, it's a process. It's finding the light within. I'm sure Athena knows about that, being a crystal person. I'm
just so glad of the stone I chose, because everything you're saying, I'm like, oh, here we go. I love it.
Is it quartz? Is it quartz? Is it rose quartz?
It's rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen that one, but yeah, that's interesting. Yep. Yeah, we need to recondition ourselves, become addicted to our healthy self, and remember that we're all beautiful, resourceful, colorful, vibrant, strong individuals. We just have to unearth it.
I love
well
that.
said. People, I can't employ you enough. Go get that book, Love Smack.
Get it. Go take that test.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Take the quiz. Check it out. I mean, I got things printed up all over the place from that book, because I don't have like physical book in hand.
But thank you for having me, everybody. I really appreciate it. You're just lovely, and good luck with your crystal reading, and thank you. And I'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully we can have you on again. Good luck with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be in touch. We will definitely be in touch.
I love it. All right. Bye. Bye.
Hi.
Hi.
So good to see you.
So nice to see you too.
Okay,
always.
I gotta put this up. Here we go. I gotta put this up.
Oh, Nadine, sorry. I had nothing to do with that, right?
Oh, I can't.
You should see my house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I can see over there. I can see it.
But it's a very healthy addiction to have. I remember there was some post on Instagram a while back. It was like, teach your kids about crystals, because then they won't have any money left for drugs.
Or foxes. You can never have too many foxes.
You can never have too many foxes.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
Look, and she sparkles. Look how cute, right? Look at the little
tail. My new Mummy's Day fox right there.
Oh, I love that.
And I put it over there, and my daughter's got it. They want me to put it outside, and I'm like, it's too pretty to go outside.
No,
it's gonna get dirty out there.
It's gonna get dirty. I want to see it every time I'm on camera.
Yeah. And then my daughter said, "Oh, you're gonna have it in there? Put plants." I'm like, I don't want plants in it. I like it just the way it is.
Well, you can put an ivy in it so it'll grow and travel.
I know. I don't know.
She doesn't know how to do the real plants. You know what? There's a lily. I'll send it to you. It's the easiest plant to keep, and it grows out like vines. And I mean, literally, it's really hard to kill. So it's really hard to kill.
I like all my big things. All I have to do is give them a shower.
You don't even have to use soil. You can put it like in the planter. You can have like a bowl of water. And you just put the roots directly into the water, and then you just check it every once in a while, like, oh, is there water in there? And
the luck.
You can remind me.
I have one.
Do you have one of those?
Chinese luck bamboo.
It's not a bamboo. It's like a vine. I actually just bought one. I want to put it up in my office somewhere.
Please do, so I can go check it out.
Yes,
because I was given the lucky bamboo. I call it the lucky bamboo. I'm not sure where it's from.
Those are also super easy.
And those are just I just trade them out every 2 or 3 years into a bigger place. When I first got it, they were about this big. It was a gift from a customer at work, and now they're like Freaking huge.
They're so big. I can't even put it on camera. I love it. I love it.
I love it. All right. Well, listen,
Sharon killed a rubber plant. Oh my God, Sharon, you're amazing.
I killed all my plants. I really
You and
did.
Gina, peas in a pod.
When I moved, actually, I brought him over to his house, and then he killed them. Those oh God, they're just leafy things that grow like crazy. Philodendron, is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know them off the top of my head. I make posts about them and what's great and what works and the energy acquired, and then it's like, woof, it's out of my head. I have to look it up again.
Yeah. I can't remember when I walk into a room, so you know. All right, so we're gonna just kind of step down a little bit here and let you talk about this lovely stone here, and let's see.
Aw, beautiful. Thank you for posting that. And to anybody here that hasn't seen me, hello. I am Athena Barry, Reiki Master and author of award-winning book, Raise Your Vibes, and creator of crystalreikihealer.com. And of course, I am so grateful to be back here for another week on the Fox Den Show, with Fox included, and sharing our Crystal of the Week segment. So let's dive in. This week for the show, I really felt called, as you saw, and I mentioned earlier, to the energy of rhodochrosite. So I just have a little piece here, but I really felt like this fit both the theme for today's show as well as our current astrological placement in Mercury retrograde. So this beautiful crystal really connects you with your inner child, helping you to also recover any lost or suppressed memories and emotions so that you can finally clear and heal them and release these old wounds, but without the fear of them reappearing in your life, if that makes sense. So we're able to look at these emotional wounds without reliving them. And then this allows us to release that emotional attachment that is, we see coming back through our current relationships. We see them cycling back through patterns of behavior. Granted, we don't have a choice on maybe the event that took place, but we do have a choice on the patterns of behavior that we are continuing that keeps these cycles going. So rhodochrosite is really wonderful for helping you to identify these moments, and then to help yourself heal from them. It's wonderful for helping us to deepen our meditation practice as well, and especially if this is your thing, doing past life regression meditations, because very often, if this is your belief as it is mine, we tend to carry unresolved traumas, emotional attachments, even emotional attachments to certain people from or souls from our past lives, and we bring that and carry it forward into this life, which is also another reason we see cycles of behavior repeating. During Mercury retrograde, this one is notorious for bringing back that past to haunt you, right? We hear about flames coming back, exes, toxic partners, but especially these old relationships and toxic partners that will show up, but as well as mistakes that we've made or we feel that we've made. So these all kind of come to the surface during this time and allows us a chance to revisit them, but not while we're in the situation. So it kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. You can step back from it and view this. And this gives you a little bit of clarity and some closure on whatever the event was or the relationship was without having to actually re-experience the relationship. So I don't recommend getting back together with your exes. Whatever problems that brought you apart during that time, those issues are still there. It's not like Mercury retrograde says, oh, but they're back. Okay, they're back, but those issues were not resolved, and that's why they're back. So it's really nice to work with rhodochrosite to help you kind of clarify and zoom in on where you can facilitate healing and closure and forgiveness. That's a huge part of it as well, forgiving yourself and forgiving the others for the harm that came to you. I know sometimes things happen that seem unforgivable. But when we carry that with us, it's really just a burden, on our soul, a weight that we're carrying. And if we're able to forgive and let go, we don't have to continue contact with that person, but being able to forgive and wish them health and wish them their own forgiveness and wish them healing really does so much for our internal work. So just remember that even the lessons are blessings. And as long as we're growing, we're doing well and we're moving forward. Now, working with rhodochrosite helps us to do this also from a place of love. So when we forgive ourselves and others, and hopefully we're able to see like our part in some of these situations so that we don't repeat them. This beautiful crystal, rhodochrosite, activates our heart chakra and our solar plexus, giving us the strength and the will to move through, to follow through with our healing journey, and to do this from a place of love so that we can heal these old traumas, these old emotional pains and wounds, and do it from our heart center, from a place of love. Working with this stone allows us to see that we must also love ourselves first, taking care of ourselves first, and refilling those cups so that we have enough to give to everybody else. This is especially important for mothers. We so often give and give and give and give, and then it's meltdown and breakdown, and we want to keep you from getting to that meltdown place, because as long as you're taking care of yourself, you really do have so much more energy to give to your children, to give to your partners, to give to your friends and your loved ones. So very important to keep that in mind. When we vibrate from a place of love, we also, in turn, and appropriate for today's show, we tend to attract those who love and appreciate us as well. This might not be in terms of romantic relationships, as we always tend to think, like, I want that partner, I want that twin flame or that soulmate. Sometimes our soulmates come in the forms of friendships. But even though loving yourself is not necessarily going to attract that partner, it is a great place to start loving yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself, right, you're going to be projecting that emotion, those feelings, that energy. And what happens is, in turn, we end up pushing people away that are actually trying to show us love, because we can't even see it for ourselves. So I hope that resonates and makes sense. As far as the physical body, this crystal is really wonderful for overcoming symptoms from withdrawals. So from things like stimulants like caffeine and other substances that maybe you've been struggling with, trying to break that habit. Mercury retrograde is always a time we're trying to do that too. So this one really helps you to just reclaim your inner strength, calm those anxieties, and it works really well to lower our stress levels in our physical and in our emotional body. Argentina has the largest deposit, as well as Colorado, right here in the US. And although this stone is a little bit more expensive than our other crystals, a little piece, like my little bitty, really goes a long way in terms of energy and what it can do to help you heal. And of course, what I do so often with my little crystals is you can place it together with a piece of clear quartz, and clear quartz will amplify the energy of the stone that you're working with. So just a nice little tidbit. If you're worried you don't have a big enough one, it's okay. Just put it together with a clear quartz, and it's like having a loudspeaker, one of those loud horns, like pushing that energy out towards you. So, from you and then out to the world. So it's a really good choice in case you just have that little one. Now, ways you can use this crystal. It's an excellent choice for your moon water, especially for this upcoming one. We have a full moon eclipse in Scorpio coming this weekend. And those eclipses tend to bring a very unstable and even reckless type of energy. So this one is really wonderful for kind of de-stressing, calming things down, bringing it back to love. And that, of course, gives you clarity so you can see a little bit more clearly what is happening in your life and how you can facilitate change in the ways that you need to live a little bit happier. This one, likewise, is also wonderful for supporting your sleep. So just tuck it right there under your pillow, or under the pillow of your partner, under the pillow of your children. Really wonderful. We spend so much time in our beds, and that really gives us like hours and hours for our bodies to align and come into harmony with the energy of our crystals. Likewise, you can keep one like I do. You can tuck it into your bra. You can wear it as jewelry. You can stick it in a pocket, in your purse, your handbag, as well as, of course, if you're choosing to meditate with this stone, you can just hold it between your hands or in your palm, resting on your knees, whichever really works for you. There's no wrong way here. So it's whatever resonates for you. That's the way to do it. And then, of course, in your bath, your crystal elixirs. This is a great one to stick in your water, even your morning coffee. And don't worry, like the hot water from your tea or your coffee is not going to damage your stone. These crystals have been through so many earthly events and storms and so many different things that are well beyond a cup of hot coffee. So don't worry about that. They've been around for millennia, and they will be around for millennia long after we have parted. So, and then of course, I always love to leave you with a wonderful meditation to help you connect with your crystal's energy. And for rhodochrosite, I hold compassion for myself and others as I heal my past emotional traumas. And that wraps it up for our crystal segment of the week for rhodochrosite. Thank you, ladies, so much for having me join you. And I hope this has brought value to your show.
As always.
Always amazing.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I have to do this. Okay,
do it.
When it comes to crystal sized.
It's how you use it.
There you go.
Well, and then I wanted to, and what I wanted to do too is mention, because you always say put the crystal under the pillow.
Yes.
And a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to lose it. Well, if you can't just put it under your pillow, just go right under your sheet. Put it under the sheet so won't knock it off.
I did that with my husband. I stuck it under the sheet, like the fitted one.
You stuck him under the sheet?
Okay.
I snuck him. No, I snuck the rose. I put a piece of rose quartz. We were struggling with him. I mean, I've been married 20 years, and every relationship has its moments, right?
Yep, it does,
and I was just thinking, what can I do, energetically to kind of bring us kind of back on the same page? I mean, everybody kind of grows at different times, right? Yep. So you kind of have moments. But I would sneak it under, and I would put it under the sheet because at the time he thought I was being weird and witchy.
I know, right? And he says, I put it, Sharon, she says, I put it in the pillowcase.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's another.
Way back in the day, our parents used to do camphor in a little drawstring bag. You can get them. So put a little drawstring bag and pin it to your pillow or pin it to wherever you want to do it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I
mean, I don't know what your house is like, but it's not that easy to lose one under your pillow. I mean, there's only so many places it can go, right? I mean, under the mattress.
Things disappear.
And then that's another point. Sometimes crystals will disappear. For example, I went to the Mind Body Wellbeing Festival, and I had brought my collection of heart crystals. I couldn't bring everything, because my suitcase was already like 1 million pounds. Yep. But I brought that's just my carry-on. It was nuts. But I had all these beautiful crystals that were like bubble hearts, like puffed hearts. And I noticed when I was unpacking and everything here, my tiger's eye had disappeared. So I was like, oh my gosh, out of all the crystals, that was the one that I was really wearing a lot while I was there. And sometimes, did they get lost? Did they get taken? Did they end up vacuuming into the universe like a vortex into our Earth?
Like the one that you tried to mail to me with the book?
Or the one I tried to mail to you with the book? I mean, sometimes they will vanish, and you know what? It's okay, because that one, it was ready either to leave you or it was ready to service someone else. Mm-hmm. So I was sad to lose my tiger's eye, but I thought, well, you know what? It had a beautiful memory attached to it, and I will find another anyway. So now I get to go crystal shopping. Yeah.
Yep. I love Tiger. He's my
Debbie?
favorite.
Yeah.
I
See,
used to,
beautiful.
when I was a teenager, everything was Tiger Eye on me. I mean, I always had the
Aw.
big, huge, like I got my turquoise on, but I always had the big, huge Tiger Eye, you know, rings, everything, earrings,
I love
everything
it.
was Tiger Eye. And then
Beautiful.
from that I went to onyx. Everything was
Oh, I
black.
love onyx too.
Like, you know.
Yes, yes. I actually found some old rings that were my grandmother's, that were like, I don't know if they were like from Aztec or Mayan. I mean, they look like native style, you know, but they're all carved onyx and they're so
Cool.
pretty. And I was like, oh, Grandma, thank you.
You know
Because
what?
I didn't know what they were when I was a kid.
I lost
Yeah.
my onyx fox. I have my black onyx fox that I always wore during investigations.
You see?
It's gone.
Sometimes, you know, they're meant to, you know, or they've served their purpose for your life. So
I did
time to go
not.
shopping.
I did not. I did not. Why?
Now, why would she do something like that?
Why did I do that?
Gina can't, yes. Pillowcase, yes, with 4 cats. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, with 4
prayers for the
cats, they might
fire.
end up playing with them. Definitely.
Yeah, prayers for the fires in California.
Thank you. Thank you. One of our best friends, actually the one who walked me down the aisle when I had my Vegas elopement that we didn't tell anybody about.
Oh boy.
He's under mandatory evacuation, and his mom's house, who he went to help, he had to help her move, you know, leave because she's older. She's one house, one street, like up from, like you show the burning houses on the news. That street behind them, his mom's house is on that street. So we're all watching, and we're all hoping that you know, that they're going to be okay. And it was really devastating to see that.
Oh my God, that is so scary. That is
so scary. He sent me a video of her backyard. It was just the air was so dark and filled with smoke. It was wild. And it was his birthday, so I felt really bad. I was like, I'm sorry. So Farshad, we love you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Everything works out.
It went up in flames for you. Sorry.
I hope everything works out though in the end, right?
Yes. All's well that ends well. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as there's no life lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah. So I love it. I love this book, Love Smacked. That was wonderful. The title is pretty funny. Like love. I realize somebody's smacking you, right?
Well, basically, yeah.
Which we're doing to ourselves, right? Half the time. Like, why? But yeah, rhodochrosite. I mean, I only caught kind of the end of what she was talking about, but I was like, did you read my notes for rhodochrosite? What happened here?
It is, as always. It's the perfect stone for this, you know. So
yeah, it works out.
I appreciate you so much for doing
it. I love you. Thank you. And my fox.
I love it.
Well, okay, look, I have nothing to
I need
say
to get a
about
butterfly too.
No, you already have a butterfly.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You know, I just can't hold it though.
I've been there first.
Yeah. And I have like a little butterfly stamp thing. I have these little stamps and stuff.
I love it. Cute. So,
yeah, you get a whole bunch of I just put this one on a we had to do an autograph for someone, so on the envelope I stamped that on the outside.
Beautiful. Oh, I should get one of those. That's so much fun. My little logo or something.
Kids would love it.
Yeah. I used to do that for them when they were little. We would get stamps for like Valentine's Day and like all the holidays, and they would.
I love crafts.
Yeah. Now they're like teenagers, and I got to bring them out for Wilhelmina, so she'll like it.
Okay. We still have to do the kid show thing, so we can have her.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I told her I want to bring you on, and she was being really shy. So we'll have to give her a minute. Just hang out next to me and be shy, and then once she's warmed up, I mean,
she'll be great.
Angels help me. I don't know what's going to come out of her.
What does she like? What can we bribe her with? Chocolate?
Yeah, Claire's. She's really a big fan of Claire's. She loves the Claire's, the store, and then they have
We could send her a gift card for
like
Claire.
a rack. Oh, you're so cute. Yeah, they have a Claire's rack at CVS, so I'm going to CVS every time she does well on a test. Yeah, every time she does well on a test, we're off to CVS to the Claire's stack. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh, our Claire's does. Our CVS doesn't have a Claire's. They have a little jewelry thing, but they don't have a Claire's.
Oh, you should have a conversation with them.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
You know that on the other coast.
Yeah, and it's nice. They have stands that are for the holidays, and I mean, I know it's a whole like marketing thing, but they're cute little trinkets that that little girls just love. So I mean, I loved Claire's when I was little, so
Of course.
I mean, I get it.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's great.
Start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, this
yes,
was
we
so
have
lovely.
Claire's.
I know it was. You have Claire's here.
We
Awesome.
have Claire's, but not
Yeah.
in CVS.
Or I know. I was surprised. It hasn't been necessarily a great thing, mind you, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Regular
Right, well,
trips.
listen, thank you. I know you're busy, girl. You are always busy.
Thank you.
We'll see next week.
I'm gonna.
This is the book.
I
Connect,
love it.
Dr. Mark Halpern, and yeah, Coherence
Wonderful.
Revolutions. Brain.
Okay, let's get to it.
And body.
Resonance. I love it. Mind-body connection. I'll show him some Reiki techniques.
Yeah, he's a chiropractor like your husband.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, excellent. Yeah, wonderful.
Right.
Yeah, that's
so I'm sure
perfect.
again, you'll pick out the perfect stone for that. And
I will do my best. We'll
Yeah.
see where the angels guide me. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Always nice to see you, loves.
I love you, love you, love you.
I love you too. I love you too.
You have no choice but to be here.
I have no choice. Mama D says so. Mama D's going to come over and snag my wings if I'm not careful.
I've got a lot of friends in California that can give me places to hide. I'll be like,
yes. You better bring a dolly. Those things are really heavy.
Backpack.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if a backpack would carry them. They are deceivingly heavy. I mean,
I'm sure.
It's pretty crazy.
But they are gorgeous. And that,
yeah.
You think she's trying to convince me not to try and snag her wings?
Yeah.
Fine, I won't take them.
All right.
I'll grab a crystal bowl.
But we'll have to get you over here, and then we can just be total hippie crystal geeks together. And
that would be so much fun. Oh my God.
Meditate around them or something. Do something fun. Yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah.
When are you coming to California next?
Doing a crystal bowl healing session.
I don't know.
I love it.
It might be sooner than you think.
Okay. Well, you keep me posted. The weather's good for that. The whole like lung situation, right? Open that up a bit.
Right. When those fires clear up.
You're right. Actually, I take it back. Our air quality is not that great at the moment, is it? Well, over here, I don't have anything. I mean, we have beautiful blue skies right here, but
I would love to attend one of your beach.
Yeah, we're going to be doing it this Sunday. I'm really excited, and I really need it myself. I mean, these things are so, I think I had said before, I don't know if they're better for me or for those that come, because it's such a beautiful gathering of women that are, and we have men too, it's not excluded to women. It's just, they typically come more, and we share energy together, and yes, come to Cali. Yes. Nadine, I owe you a hug from them. Don't forget. Yes.
Yes. And I want to meet her so badly. She's
so lovely, isn't she? Yeah.
Yes. I don't even
one of
know
those gifts.
You have to send me a picture of you because I don't know what you look like. I envision you one way, but I would really, I would love to meet you. I think you're a very special, wonderful person. I'm jealous that you get to hang out with me.
I try as much as I can. I hold these like once a month, and I mean, we might end up doing some Reiki together and learning courses that way, and that gives us a little more time together. But she's just lovely. And then this summer, I want to do something with the kids too, because I know they would love it. And we'll see. I mean, and it's fun too. Like I'll run into her. Like I ran into her at our crystal shop, like the local crystal shop. It was like, oh my gosh, hey! Like,
oh my God, I love it.
It was so cool. My mom was in town, and my mom was like, oh my gosh, you're famous. And I'm like, no, mom, this is no, I'm not famous.
Yes, mom, she is. Yes, mom, she is.
My mom just thought that was so cool. So it was, and she got to see her, so that was fun too. So
oh, that's fabulous.
Yes.
All right. Well, just
together.
What I'm just gonna say goodbye to everybody, and
okay.
So everybody
we haven't
just
played it in a while. Play the sign out song and ciao for now.
Right, and we do want you to share the show. There's a lot of good information out there for people struggling with relationship problems and issues.
Yes.
We will see you all next week. We love you. Bye, Shay.
Bye.
Oh, here comes JoJo.